Hey guys, Marsinged here, bringing another Dragon Ball Z Dokkan battle video, and so we're going to be taking a look at the LR Gamma 1 and 2 at 55%. I am using a friend lead for a superhero team build, because unfortunately I did not pull them myself, but because superhero is now such a great team, these guys are just a 200% lead across the board for superheroes. If you find yourself in a similar situation where you didn't pull them yourself, using them as a friend to try them out will definitely be fun. The superhero team is incredibly good. Now, of course, you're probably always going to be best off when it comes to the most difficult content in the game, just running a friend Beast Gohan to run a superhero team, because of course he is absolutely incredible. But if you want to mix it up a little bit, the Gammas are a very fun unit, so this is an option even if you did not pull them. And of course, if you pulled them and not Beast, you can run them and run Beast as a friend, so you can combo them together, which is definitely very cool. So they have the 200% lead for superhero. Their 12 key super raise attack and defense for 1 turn does colossal damage, and then the 18 key is greatly raise attack and defense and does mega colossal damage. We get key 3 attack and defense 125%, additional key 3 and attack and defense 125% when HP is 30% or more. Then they give superheroes, joined forces or defenders of justice allies 3 key attack and defense 50%. Obviously that doesn't stack because that would be crazy otherwise, which would be, at least I don't think so, right? Because otherwise, like, that means they'd be giving the TUR Gammas 100%. I don't think there are any characters that are superhero joined forces and defenders of justice. They'd be getting 150%. Then they get chance of critting 30% and launch an additional super, up to 2 supers if you pick up int orbs. So literally 2 int orbs and they'll do 2 additional super attacks. And then they get 12% crit chance and additional attacks that have a great chance to become supers if you pick up AGL or STR orbs. So int orbs gives you 2 guaranteed supers and 30% crit chance. AGL or STR orbs gives you 12% crit chance and chances to do additional supers. They also get 50% attack and defense and reduce damage by 30% starting from the turn in which they perform the 3rd attack. Which means if you're getting 2 rainbow orbs, they're always going to attack like 3 times in 1 turn anyway. Although, of course, unfortunately here, we did get a situation where they were on turn 2. So, depending on if they do crit, they're potentially only going to be able to get 1 attack off. And then they're going to kill Goku here. Now, unfortunately, you can see from the damage they take, we got type disadvantage. They don't have guard or anything like that for the first turn. So they still take some damage. They're not really going to be a slot 1 unit. Of course, like I say, if we, because of the turn 2 situation, if we put Gamma 1 in slot 1, he would have just killed Goku, and then the Gammas wouldn't have done anything. Now, annoyingly, the situation will be, most of the time, that if you are able to have the Gammas on rotation and the enemy isn't about to just, like, fall down dead, if you get 2 int orbs, they get 2 guaranteed additional attacks, and to activate their full passive and then to activate the condition for their active skill, they only need to do 3 attacks, which they get guaranteed if you pick up the 2 orbs. Even if you pick up 2 AGL or STR orbs, they're doing 2 guaranteed extra attacks. Each one of those has a 70% chance to become a super, whereas if they're int, they're guaranteed supers, but they still count as attacks. And their passive is only when you've performed 3 attacks. So even if you can't get the int orbs, as long as the enemy doesn't die before they've actually attacked 3 times, as long as you're picking up those orbs, you're going to get the 3 attacks and therefore get their active skill condition and that last part of their passive active basically in the first turn, which is really, really good. The physical free-to-play Goten, Trunks and Marin on all 3 categories. Amazing. But yeah, I don't think that support stacks, because that would be crazy. I mean, the Gamma's getting 100% attack and defense from these guys would be really, really good. But yeah, we floated off Gamma 2 on turn 1, which means the next rotation is going to be Gamma 1, the LR Gammas, and then Gamma 2, which is pretty crazy. Of course, that's always the problem with units in being on turn 2, is you can get stuck in like a cycle where they're always coming onto the rotation when the enemy is like on low health. Here we should be able to get some attacks in, and there's no attacks in slot 1, so I am going to go ahead and put them there. We get our 2 int orbs, so we're getting 3 attacks guaranteed. Linked up with Gamma 1, we have every link active apart from legendary power, 300k defense start of turn, They're definitely not as impressive as Beast. I mean, Beast is number one for a reason, but 7.3 mil on the attack is decent as well, considering all the support and stuff that they give. And then, of course, their real power comes from once you start getting the, you know, charging up the standby, getting the exchange into Gamma 1. These guys have 3 different forms, essentially, and this is only the first one. So, get the 3 attacks off here. Now their passive is maxed out, and we have the potential to activate their active skill on the next turn, which we will do. But as I said in the Beast Showcase, this is why I like to use this God Goku stage, because it now takes a lot longer to actually kill or actually even do significant damage to this Goku, which means we won't have to worry about accidentally killing him before the Gammas get to do anything. So those for you. Beast Gohan's going to get hit and give everyone 3 ki, which is going to put physical Ulma Gohan up to 24 ki as well. God Goku going to super beast straight away here, but his intro buff is still up. So yeah, my 55% level 1 Link's Gohan taking double digit damage from an AGL boss on turn 5. It's pretty good. Yeah, the fact that the LR in Ginyu is actually unfeatured on the Gamma's banner is quite a nice surprise. I don't think he was featured on, not featured, sorry, unfeatured, but I don't think he was available for the Gogeta banner. I think somebody had checked and said that he wasn't, but he is in the Gamma's banner, which is interesting. But yeah, 6.2 for physical Gohan. He hasn't had a chance to really, I don't think he's attacked at all yet, right? Because he was on the first turn where we just finished off the end of one of the other phases. Typical physical Gohan activity though. Getting 24 ki and then just getting 2 additional normals instead of additional supers. But rainbowed, yeah. Rainbowed Gohan, Gammas on the tickets as well. Redemption from the Broly and Gogeta banners, nice. Oh, he was in the Gogeta banner. Well, there you go. Because I pulled Gogeta on the tickets, so I didn't use any stones. I literally did the ticket summons, got Gogeta, and then was just like, yeah, I'll be happy to have him at 55%. He's just useful to have on the superhero team for all of the abilities that he has. But you don't necessarily need to get dupes for him. But right, so now we can use the standby for these guys. So their standby, which is the charging up of the core breaker, can be activated when HP is 70% or less, or after the character performs 3 or more attacks, which, as we said, you can basically get in turn 1. And then even if you somehow didn't, but you then took damage before they came back, you could potentially activate it as well. It has no turn restriction, which is really, really good. So the charging is attacks performed by each ally. So let's go ahead and get the standby activated here.
Number 1, keep that guy busy to buy me some time.
Number 2, are you gonna...
So yeah, Gamma 2 up into space, charging up the core breaker attack, and now we have our Gamma 1 and Gamma 2 standby mode. So in the standby mode, their super attacks are still the same: raise attack and defense for 1 turn, colossal, greatly raise, mega colossal. They also raise superclass allies defense by 50% on their 18 ki super, which is pretty significant buff. Key 6, attack and defense 250, damage reduction 50%, additional attack and defense 50% when attacking. They still give the support to those 3 categories, and then they still get the 30% crit chance and 2 additional supers with int orbs, 12% and chance to additional with AGL or STR orbs. So they get all of their defense start of turn now, as well as 50% damage reduction. Now, the thing about that is that, like, you know, if we were to get supered in slot 1 for like 1,000,000 damage, they've only got 300k defense. So you take 50% off of that, that's 500k. They're still going to take like 200k damage. Now, they do have links like Android Assault, which at level 1 is 10% defense, at level 10 is 20% defense. So some of these links that they're sharing, especially with like the other Gamma units, like Red Ribbon Army only gives attack at level 1, but at level 10 it gives 10% defense as well. So a lot of these links are significantly better once you get them up to level 10. And obviously they're going to look way stronger. So we can get our int orbs here. Hopefully we just don't get immediately supered in slot 1, but we should live anyway. With the amount of HP that we have, we shouldn't die to a super in slot 1, even if Goku does super. But I mean, we're going to find out. So let's see what we get here. Now again, with the greatly raised on the 18 key, they are going to be better in slot 2. Yeah, see, 400k. And then we take double digits from normals. That's the major difference between them and Beast, is that obviously you can put Beast in slot 1 and he's just a very dominant defensive unit. Whereas these guys are giving support, their standby is going to buff all your allies, which is really good. Superclass allies getting all that crazy defense. And then we're charging up our big like finish ability here. But realistically, they're not going to be a slot 1 unit for this difficult content. Gamma 1, with all the links and supports that he gets from them, can still function decently well as a slot 1 unit. And of course, he's going to get unique equips as well from one of the anniversary events. We had no build up to this point, so that was a little bit sketchy. But yeah, Piccolo, do some damage here to Goku. So we only need to charge. How many do we actually need? Can be activated when charge count is 1 or more. But obviously, the more charged it is, the better it is. So I probably should just do this. Even though we're going to put him in slot 1 anyway, it's because I want him to get the defensive buff more so than anything else. Because, yeah, now he has 829k defense, which also means we get a decent heal off of the orbs. And it protects physical Gohan or Gamma 2 from getting supered, which would be bad. We also remember we get a defense buff when we get hit. So Beast Gohan, especially now with the super attack effect as well, is now well over 1 million defense here. Like, well over. And has the damage reduction. Then we get the additional that also raises defense. So, don't need to worry about him now, even from a super. And yeah, nobody else on the rotation has to worry about getting killed. It's always interesting to see when you have one of these target abilities active, like where the attacks are. Because obviously if he was to super now, it's going to go to Beast. But then obviously we know that it was in slot 2, so it would have been on physical Ultima Gohan, which, considering this God Goku doesn't have a Ki Blast super, would have potentially been quite a lot of damage to physical Gohan. And then Gamma 2 in slot 3 as well, especially on a rotation like this where he doesn't have all the links active. He would take a lot of damage from a super. But of course, it's like him and Beast Gohan can both nullify Ki Blast supers, but God Goku doesn't do one of those. So it would be a bit awkward for Gamma 2 to eat a super here. But we don't have to worry about that because we have the Beast Gohan target ability active. So okay, he just didn't super this turn, fair enough. Alright, so actually we can use Gogeta's one here as well, which is pretty funny. So now that we have the target thing charged up, does it actually say what their attack does specifically on here, or is it going to be on here? Does it say on here? Yeah, where does it actually say on their page, like, what their thing does? Because it does damage, and then you exchange into Gamma 1. But why is it not listed on here anywhere? Or is it that? No, that's their super attack, because they still super in this phase. Is it on here? No. That's weird. Or is it in the in-game menu? It doesn't seem to actually show it anywhere. Oh, there you go. Raise attack 100% temporarily per charge count, super ultimate damage, and stuns the enemy for 1 turn. So 100% per charge count. So we got ours up to 6. We only have 2 turns left, which means if we didn't use it now, we would lose it. But we got it up to 14. So they get 1,400% extra attack, which is pretty crazy. So let's go ahead and do that. We've got the animations on, yeah. All right. So core breaker time. Now in terms of damage, it's obviously not going to do a crazy amount of damage because we're against AGL God Goku. But yeah, the core breaker sacrifice attack from Gamma 2. So that leaves him down for the count. And now we just have Gamma 1 by himself. So final form is exchanging into just Gamma 1. I believe he has, the same super attack effects. Still has the raise superclass allies defense by 50%, except it's for 2 turns now. And then we get the key 3 attack and defense 150, 15% damage reduction, 3 key attack and defense 150, and an extra 15% damage reduction if HP is 30% or more. Additional attack and defense 50% when attacking. Still gives the allies all the support. Gets the additional super guaranteed, and then changes AGL's orbs to int. Chance of performing a crit 20% up to 100, and additional damage reduction of 10% up to 50 per int or STR orb obtained. So if you get 5 int or STR orbs, he has 80% damage reduction, which is pretty good. Because he's only got 330k defense, but 80% damage reduction. There's 4 int orbs. So he'll have 70% damage reduction here. So we'll do that. He's got 330k defense start of turn. I mean, realistically, I can just do the target ability with Gogeta, so he's not going to get hit anyway. But I do kind of want to see how well he tanks, so I'm not going to use the target ability with Gogeta. Yeah, so it takes double digits from normals, that's to be expected, especially with that kind of damage reduction. And then his attack stat, 11.4 million. So again, remember, this is 55% level 1 links. So the one thing we can see, especially in comparison to Beast, he is not a slot 1 tank. Once you get to this form, he definitely can tank in slot 1, especially if you're picking up the amount of orbs to give him that extra damage reduction. But especially on their very first turn, or before you go into the standby, they're not getting extra damage reduction and stuff like that. We saw they took, what was it, like 250k from a normal from the physical Goku in phase 1. So if he'd immediately supered in slot 1, we would have just died with them. So you've got to be careful in the early turn. But they do get a lot of defense and stats and everything on their super attack. And of course Gamma 1, now that we're in this final phase, giving 50% defense to superclass allies for 2 turns on his super attack, means that when we go into the next turn, our rotation for Beast and the physical ultimate Gohan are going to have that extra 50% damage reduction, extra 50% defense. Man, if there was a unit that gave allies 50% damage reduction for 2 turns, that'd be insane. Because there are so many characters in the game that have damage reduction themselves already, it would just make multiple characters actually invincible. So don't expect to see that anytime soon. I think the closest we've got to any sort of thing like that is we've got the Broly trio gives 10% damage reduction to movie bosses or super bosses allies on rotation if you get to 24 key, and then obviously that Path to Power Kid Goku gives everyone 7% damage reduction, but you have to pick up 7 orbs. So yeah, any units that are actually giving people damage reduction, it's very minimal and very conditional. But yeah, Beast Gohan, thanks to that buff from Gamma 1, starts the turn at 445k defense. So that's pretty good. And then, yep, you can grab all of those. And then we'll just grab you those. But But yeah, so Gamma 1 and 2 definitely are a very good unit, a fun option for the superhero team. I would still say, as I said at the beginning, like obviously Beast is better. I would run, if you have Beast and you didn't pull the Gammas, you're probably still just better off running double Beast as leads for a superhero team. But these guys definitely can be fun. The buff that they give is good. They're just one of those units I think are probably better as a unit that you can put on the superhero team if you have them as a support. But if you don't have them, as I say, you're probably just better off running a Beast Gohan friend, just because Beast Gohan is so much better. Oh yeah, I think it's 8%, yeah. 8% damage reduction for 7 orbs after Power Kid Goku. And they did that. That unit's quite old now, and they still haven't really done that for other units since then, which is kind of crazy. So yeah, it's not often you see units giving other characters damage reduction. The extra 50% defense for 2 turns is definitely very, very good from the Gammas. And yeah, see here we've got the full Gamma rotation. The orb changing can be awkward though, like we can only get 3 orbs here, which means he's got, what, 60%, is it? Because it's, was it 2 lots of 15% actually? Yeah, it's 2 lots of 15%, so it gives you 30, and then 10 per int or STR orb. And we only got 3, so it puts them at 60, which is still good. 60% damage reduction. I mean, you got to remember, again, in slot 1, that means there's probably not a lot of the big boss super attacks that he's going to be able to tank. But he'll eat normals in slot 1 quite nicely, and then he raises on super. 12 million, because remember, both the Gammas are giving support, the solo ones. So a 12 million attacks that into an additional 8 million, while being tanky enough to pretty much tank everything here, post-super, is pretty good for 55% level 1 links. So let me know what you guys think down below in the comment section. Hopefully if you did summon, you got lucky. If not, like me, you can try them out as a friend, and they're still very fun to use. Whilst they're not as good as Beast Gohan, they're still very, very good. I think it's one of those unfortunate things that Beast kind of pulls all of the hype for the part 2. But the Gammas are still a very good unit. So let me know what you guys think down below in the comment section. So that is going to be it for the video, guys. This has been the Master Ningen. Smash that like button, subscribe to the channel if you are new. Check out all the links down below, and I will see you all again soon. Have a good one.